Wolves 1, Manchester City 2 in the early game on Sunday. Doesn't even tell half the story. And because of the controversial late winner, we have something to talk about, Stevie Nicol, because up until that point, it was meandering towards a dull 1-1 draw. It would have been a great point for Wolves after last time out when Gary O'Neill described their 5-3 defeat at Brentford as his worst day as a coach. But John Stones with the late winner. Shall we start at the end or start at the beginning? Your choice.
Well, I think we should probably start at the beginning and talk about what we thought was going to finish up being a 1-1 draw. As you said, it wasn't a spectacle, and it wasn't a spectacle because Wolves sat on the edge of the box and got 10 men behind the ball. I mean, the fact that they took the lead on the first and maybe only break they had in maybe the entirety of the game, and City find themselves one down. From then on, it was just do anything you can to keep City out. Goalkeeper, no surprise, made 2 or 3 good saves, particularly in the first half, down low to his right, from shots from outside the box, because quite frankly, there was no space in the box.
No.
I mean, you're talking about almost 20 players, not including the goalkeepers, in an area probably the size of the box, so there's no space. And yes, Man City got themselves an equaliser, but up until a couple of minutes to go, it really did look as though it was a draw. It certainly looked as though it was a great point for Wolves. Looked as though it was a disappointing point for City. But then, of course, right at the death from a corner, John Stones with a header. Disallowed for offside, but eventually VAR got the referee to go and look at it, and the right decision was made. It was a goal, and City get 3 points by the skin of their teeth.
We'll look at that more in depth in just a second, but let's set the table first. And credit to Wolves, because it might not have been pretty. They're not there to entertain. They conceded 5 last time out. It could have been 10. They were awful defensively. So Gary O'Neill's decided, right, okay, we are going to be really hard to beat today. We're going to just jam the box. We're going to give them little space whatsoever. But they took the lead, and it was a brilliant ball in from Semedo, and it's a good finish by Strand Larsen. But yet again, Stevie, City haven't kept a clean sheet. So is this all on Wolves and the quality of this goal? Or is this on, it's easy to say no Rodri, no protection, but they just don't look the same team, whether Rodri is playing because they conceded with him or without him. So why are they conceding as many goals as they are when they've got so much of the ball?
Well, I think the one thing that they cannot stop is genuine pace. They just can't deal with it. We saw it last weekend with Traore at Fulham. You know, Fulham, in my opinion, should have won the game. You know, Traore should have had a hat trick, but he can't finish. And so the one thing I would suggest is City's Achilles heel was that on the counter attack they can't deal with genuine pace, and that's why they lost this. It was a great ball across, but at the same time you've got 3 defenders there. You had Diaz, you had Stones, and you had Lewis, and none of them could keep up with Strand Larsen, who had a simple finish in the end into an empty net. So yeah, that's the one Achilles heel they have. They can't deal with genuine pace when a team's counter attacking them. But other than that, it's about possession for City. And I mean, I haven't seen the start for today, but I'm going to guess it's got to be at least 80%. I mean, that's how dominant they were in this game.
But they could have gone 2-0 down, couldn't they? Because it wasn't the Norwegian we expected to score the first goal, but he did. He didn't have a part to play, Strand Larsen, in the second chance. It was a delightful through ball that was played by Cunha. Semedo was one-on-one, and Ederson's done well. Was that the play that you kind of thought that's the one that Rodri would probably have stopped that through ball or not allowed that in the first place?
Well, you know, it's sometimes you get even better when you're not on the field.
True.
And that's kind of what's happening with Rodri right now. We you know, it's very easy to polarize Rodri and say that, well, if Rodri's there, then that doesn't happen. listen, you have to think that he makes a difference, whether it's on the defensive side or whether it's on the attacking side. But again, the fact of the matter is that the back line struggles with genuine pace, and that's what beat them. I would say that Guardiola did enough to try and put the attacker off. Edson did well as well. He comes out and smothers it from a dodgy touch. But yeah, I think it's too simplistic to turn around and say that, had Rodri been on the field,
sure,
either of these goals, or the goal and the second attempt, wouldn't have happened. I think that's too simplistic. I think the fact is we just got to look at the back line and say that if you have any hopes of beating City, then it's on the counter and it's with genuine pace.
Jose Sa came in today for Sam Johnson, and he was outstanding. He really was. And look, we've spoken about two big chances for Wolves, but City had chances of their own. And it was no real surprise because Wolves kind of retreated, as you would expect. They've got the goal, and now it's a case of, right, we're gonna keep what we have, or we're going to try to. Guardiola's produced a stunner. I mean, you have to go back to the 80s. There was a fullback at Liverpool that was pretty good at scoring goals. Guardiola's not bad either, is he?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially when he started playing left back, I didn't think he was going to stay there. He was a centre back playing for Croatia. I think it was the Euros or the World Cup, one of the two. And I questioned, why is he playing this guy at left back? But he absolutely looks like a genuine fullback now, defensively. I mean, I said on the second opportunity, his recovery run made a difference. And of course, the goal's just a sensational strike. And as good as Sa was on the day, he couldn't stop it. He did manage to get some fingers on it, but it was just too much power. The placement was too good. And yeah, Guardiola really is not just a defender now, but he is pretty potent when it comes to getting forward and getting in attacking areas.
Jose Sa again to the rescue for Wolves. Had some brilliant saves in this game. I want to fast forward now because the second half was a dog of a second half. It was horrible, and I'm sure had that late goal not have gone in, then your tone might have been a little bit different as to what we saw. But you were the one that chose to start at the beginning, and now we've reached the end. So I want to clarify something with a tweet from our very own Dale Johnson as to what exactly happened, because there's a lot of confusion about this. So let's try and clear it up. The corner comes in. Bernardo Silva is standing in front of the goalkeeper when the corner comes in. So you can't be offside from a corner before it's hit anybody else. There is a little bit of contact, but it's more of a tickle than anything else. You're not giving a free kick against that. But it's where his position was. Now, he then ducks and moves out of the way before the header from John Stones comes in. Here's where the confusion arises. The goal was chalked off on the field by Chris Kavanagh. It was Stuart Atwell, the VAR, that said, hey, Bernardo Silva's done nothing wrong here. Come and have another look at this. So the referee saw that was the case. And as Dale points out, the VAR review said that needs to be overturned and the goal should stand. And the reason why the referee gets involved in this offside decision and not others is because it's subjective, not objective. Bottom line, Stevie, the process, regardless of how it panned out, came up with the right answer, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we should praise it. We're very quick to jump on it when it goes wrong, or we don't agree with either the process or the final decision. But this one was perfect. As you said, the linesman put his flag up for offside. The referee goes with the linesman because he knows that he has the VAR if needed. The VAR does intervene, rightly so. He goes and looks at it, comes to the right conclusion, and gives the goal. I mean, it was nice and cleanly done. It was done in a timely manner, and it was a perfect illustration of how VAR is good for the game when it's used properly. This was absolutely 10 out of 10 for the officials, for the VAR, for the referee. Everybody got it spot on, and so yeah, I think we should highlight that because, as I said, we're too quick to jump on it when it's not quite right. So this time, spot on.
Bigger picture, 94 minutes, 36 seconds, 5 added minutes and 24 seconds from the end. City get the winner. Good teams, great teams find a way. But once again, I think it was the 18th corner for City. Wolves really struggling to defend it. But City kept going. They weren't at their best. Haaland was invisible for long spells because he was well marshalled and just didn't get the break of the ball. But they had to rely on 2 centre-backs. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net. John Stones did it. And City won't care how they played. They've got 3 points, won't they?
Yeah, I think it's, somebody like Haaland's somebody is going to say, oh, we didn't do anything, he wasn't in the game. But I really don't think you can point a finger at Haaland or any of the other attackers, I mean, if you can imagine the size of the penalty box and you've basically got 20 players in it, if I was to put a coaching session on and play 10v10 in an area the size of the penalty box, players would laugh at you and wonder what you're doing. It's just too congested. And that's kind of the size of the space that this game was played in. And so to point the finger, I'm sure that, as I said, there will be somebody will come up and tell you that Haaland did nothing in the game. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know what you expect Haaland to do. The only real ball that he could have done anything about would have been a decent cross in the box. But guess what? City don't do that. They go wide and then they come back inside again. So, he didn't even have a cross that he could attack. So it's all to feet. It's all short little passes with, as I said, 20 players pretty much in such a small area. So I certainly wouldn't be pointing a finger at Haaland. I don't think there's anything he can do. It's the way the game was played. It's the way Wolves wanted to play it. And there's not a lot City can do other than keep banging on the door, keep trusting in the process they have, because eventually it worked. And guess what? They've won four Premier League titles on the trot by doing what they do, and they did it again today, and it worked again today.
By the way, to illustrate that point you've just made about the congestion inside the box, it was probably just before the series of corners that led to City's winner was probably the first time with Wolves pushing bodies forward, and we'll get to the challenge by Matheus Cunha in a second. But when City won the ball back after the referee said no foul, that was when Haaland had his bit of space. That's when City had the kind of 2-on-2 at the back. But let's talk about that challenge by Matheus Nunes. He's the former Wolves player. He got booed every time he touched the ball after coming on by the home support. Was that a foul for you that should have led to a Wolves free kick prior to the series of corners that saw City eventually take the lead?
Well, it's tough to be 100% because I've only seen it once because they never showed us it again. But I think you said it was Cunha that was on the ball. Is that correct?
Matheus Nunes.
Well, he's the one that gave the foul away, in my opinion.
Yes. Yes. He came on for Cunha.
Right. So, in my opinion, he is getting grabbed from behind all the way through till the challenge comes. Now, I think the challenge itself actually gets the ball. So, for me, the foul should have been given before the ball was won. And I'm pretty sure if it had been the other way around, the referee might have given it to City. So, in my opinion, having only seen it as it happened live, I thought it was a foul. And as you said, of course, they break forward from there. And then they get the first of a couple of corners that end up with John Stones heading the ball in the back of the net. So, I am not 100% sure it's a foul. I think it's a foul because I've only seen it once and it was live because I've not seen a replay. But I would love to see that again because that's a huge turning point in this game, no question.
Let's clarify things. Obviously, he couldn't come on because they're in different teams. Nunes came on for Kovacic in the 86 minutes. So, look, there's a lot that happens after that. Cunha had already been replaced by Carlos after 67 minutes for Wolves. So there's a lot that's happened between the challenge and the series of corners. The bottom line is City get out of Molineux with all 3 points. And you know what? That's probably as good a feeling in the end as thumping someone 5-0 and everything going right. Because when you're not at your best and maybe you don't play the way you're hoping, you don't get the chances, but you still get 3 points, that's a decent day for Man City. They win it by 2-1 at Wolves.
Wolves versus Man City live. Premier League result and reaction as John Stones nets winner in late drama. Manchester City were rescued by John Stones, whose late winner secured a 2-1 win on their travels to Wolves in the Premier League. City dominated possession and looked to push the struggling Midlands side deep into their own half. From the start, Pep Guardiola's team looked to take control, but they were hit on the break and surprisingly went behind in the 7th minute. Huge Bueno switched the ball out to the right wing, where Nelson Semedo brought it under control and swept up the pitch. He curled a lovely pass into the far side of the box and Jorgen Strand Larsen was waiting for a tap-in. Wolves then looked to dig in and limit the space for City's free-flowing forwards. They were limited to shots from range, despite 218 touches in Wolves' final third in the first half alone. One of those shots got through, Josko Gvardiol getting forward and lacing a curling right foot finish into the far top corner. City threw attacking wave after attacking wave at the Wolves' defence, boosted by second half substitutes Phil Foden and Jack Grealish, but there was no way through until Stones met Foden's corner kick and nodded home to win the defending champions all 3 points. Relive updates from the Premier League clash below as Wolves host Man City.